Good morning everyone. Welcome to Power Apps Learning class 13. In today's class, we will learn about Power Apps filter on gallery with multiple filters, and also we will learn about what is a model driven app, and also we will create a model driven app for all your projects. The basic objective of learning model driven app in our curriculum is we wanted to divide all the user interface screens as canvas apps and all admin driven operations as model driven app. Okay, so without any further delay, we will go and explore on the multi filter on top of a gallery, and also we will enhance more about lookup function because you guys are working as a academic project, so you guys are implementing login. But in the real time world, when you look at the implementing Power App runs on top of Office 365. Office 365 runs as something called SSO, single sign on. For some reason SSN is coming, ignore that. So single sign on. So whoever is loading the profile or the app, it automatically detects the user login and it will just render the app with respect to that user credential. Typically speaking, in the real time IT or the industry, they do not create any logins or anything as such, so it automatically log on. So since it is an academic project and you guys are implementing a login screen, so we need to fetch that particular user details once they provide a user information as part of the login. So that is when we will use the lookup function more. We will validate that also today. Okay. Okay, I logged onto Power Apps Maker portal and I am using the very same app which we are using all this while for our learning. So when you come here and just go onto coffee missions list, we see the missions list with respect to the mission type, which means that we are implementing the gallery items with respect to a filter, but the filtering of this gallery is only as one level. When you come here and go to items property of the filter gallery, what we have is filter coffee mission, which is the table name, followed by mission type equal to gallery 4, which is this gallery where we have the mission type. There are 4 different type of missions and doing it. But my intention is not only that, I want to filter the gallery with respect to the selected mission type along with a specific price value. Example, I'm going to add one text box here to say that the price value. Though my mission type is at home espresso mission, I want to see the items or the missions where the price is less than the price which I'm going to give as part of this text box. Meaning, now here txt mch filter price, copy that and go to, again as per my standards, border always one border. I do not want any thicker borders, blah blah blah. Also the border, sorry, the text box mouse hover color, I do not want any blue color. I want that as a simple, that is coming as the what do you call, transparent. So let's make it as white color, hover color as white color, because it's when it's a transparent, I see that behind the color, the label color, whatever the label color we have behind the text box, that's what is coming, which is looking odd. So now that is the text box. Now go to gallery 1, which is, let's say, gallery machines, and this one is gallery machine types. Notice the beauty with the Power Apps is when you create a control and you forgot to name the control appropriately, and you use that control somewhere in your app, and later you name the control with a proper naming convention, you do not have to go and update the formula or reference of that control wherever you are using in the app. What exactly I mean is, when you come here, just before it was saying as gallery 4, right? Now it immediately started showing me as gallery mission types, because I changed the name of the gallery as gallery mission types, and it just updated all the references wherever that gallery is referred. Now if I say gallery mission TYPS, I just removed one E and come back here. There you go. It automatically updates. So we do not have to worry about that. But always a good practice is, as and when you add a control on the screen, just change the name or name the control appropriately, so that you will not have ambiguity while you are fetching or referring that control in your PowerFX formula. All this code, we call it as PowerFX coding. PowerFX. Okay. Now, what are we doing here? To this gallery, we are filtering. So we are filtering the missions with respect to mission types as part of that. Now, what else I want? I also want to see the price value less than or equal to this new text box, which is text match filter price dot text. Again, this one we need to convert to number value, because the price is a number. There it is. So what it is doing exactly is, it is trying to get the items under this gallery with respect to the selected mission type along with the price. But see this, it's not getting anything. I have not given anything, but it is not getting anything. That's the catch. What we need to do, come here, we need to say as, and if it is less than or equal to price, or if that is blank also, right? Or is blank of the text box, right? If the text box is blank, or that should be less than or equal to that price, isn't it? Now what are we doing? Whether it is a dot text, now if it is blank or the value is less than or equal to that, then we wanted to do, since it is blank, it is getting the data with respect to the mission. Now if I say the value as 500, I don't have anything less than 500 under commercial. Now if I say 5000, there you go. I say 50,000, there you go. Now if I come here under at home coffee maker, now everything is coming, because everything is under $1,000. Now see this, when you scroll down, you can see only the items which are less than 500. Now if I say 250, furthermore it got trimmed down. See this? So where are we going to apply in your scenario? Example, in Arvind's project, Arvind or Anvaram project, I guess, that travel related, right? In that, what we wanted to do is, we want to fetch a trip within India, but the expense is less than 25,000 rupees. So it should show everything less than 25,000 also within India. Example, so if I want to further drill down, it should be within India and within Tamil Nadu, or like within Andhra, and also 25,000. Again, furthermore, within Andhra Pradesh, less than 25,000 rupees, and it should be a family trip. Again, furthermore, it should be Andhra, less than 25,000 rupees, and the family trip, and should be only 5 days trip. Right? So we have to provide the granular level of filtering the data what we have as part of the master data. If we cannot provide, what happens is user had to scroll through the data and it might not give a pleasant experience when we are referring or when we are using that application, isn't it? So I added one more text box to provide the mission ID also, because I want to give third level filtering. This is level 1, level 2, level 3, third level filtering. Now I just named it as this. Now if you see, this one is mission ID equal to blank navigate. Okay, because this one is not happy, so first let's address this one, because this one is, of course I forgot to add one more close open parenthesis here. Now see that what I wanted to do, I want to do as less than $250, along with, now if I just give the mission ID as 60, it will show only one value. Now what I did, I just filtered all the missions with the type as at home coffee makers, and the price value is 250 less than or equal to $250, and the ID is 60, right? First level filter, second level filter, and third level filter. We can keep on add. We can keep on add. Depends on the user requirement. Got it? That is how you can granularize your result set in the gallery, because we do not want the user to scroll through, rather we are expecting user to select their criterias then and there. And if you notice, the performance of the app is eye blinking. It's just like that on top of 71. That's it. Okay. Now, how do I make this text box more interactive? Is rather than just user go there and clear the text, we can always give a small cancel button here. And what we can do is, we'll say reset of txt mission ID text value. Now if you come here, get here, say like mission ID as 74 and come here, that's it. Say like 71, reset. More user friendly. I do not want user to highlight and clear the text. Rather, I'll just give one more small cancel button to clear that text box alone. Got it? So these are all the things I will review when I review your app or your review your application. This is what I look at. So ensure that you all implement these. So I'm going to make you understand that how we can make use of this lookup more and more better way. In your apps you are going to implement login, right? So what will you do? You will definitely have to create one table for user details, right? So in that you will have user ID and password, correct? So assume that this is user ID and this is for password. Again, this is only since it is academic project you guys are doing. In the real time, there is no need of having these user credentials business. Okay. We'll say as user ID and this one as password. And for the password text box, we can always say the text mode. as text, number or text. Okay, my bad. Rather than the text, we can always say okay, in the advanced text, yeah, text, we can say input hint text as password. Notice that it shows as password, and here the hint text as user ID. So when user play the app, they know that it is for user ID and it is for password. And once they click on that, it is automatically going out. Okay. Now what we will do is we will just add buttons for submit and cancel. On top of the submit, what do we do is if is blank of lookup user details, this is the table name, followed by user ID equal to txt text input 2, that is the text box, this is the text box that is for user ID dot text, and password equal to text input 2 underscore 1 dot text. If this is giving, what does the lookup do? If there is any record matching with this value, that will return that record, right? That's the use of this lookup, isn't it? So in fact, what we will do is we'll say update context lvar user details followed by this lookup formula, and then this one, if this record is blank, which means if there is no user matching with this criteria, we will say notify there is no user with the provided details. Please check the credentials again, double quotes, and what is this? This is an error message followed by 2000 milliseconds, comma, if not, if there is a record with that details, we will just navigate the user to appropriate screen, meaning if the user is the admin, so we'll navigate the user to the admin screens. If the user is a logged in user is a regular user, we will navigate the user to the regular screens. Got it? Now come here, say like this one, navigation type notification, my bad, nav comma screen transition type as none, that's it. So that is how we will just simply write this, we will make use of this lookup function. So yesterday or in the previous class, whatever we have done just for your understanding, but the real use case in your apps or in your academic project is this. But when you want to pass the selected gallery item, you can always pass the selected gallery item as this item, which we will learn again. Okay, which we will use that, not learn, we have already learned. So we do not do a lookup to get the selected record out of a gallery. What we will do is we will only use this lookup at the time of fetching one particular record with the text box values. Okay, input text values. Any questions? The reason why I have created this variable is in case if the user, if this provided details are not blank, I'll just say SCR mission and followed by this screen transition as none, followed by, I'll say same, this value followed by this value, because this value has the complete user details of the logged in user, right? I will pass this values to my next screen just to show my username on top of the screen as a welcome Krishna Vandanap, welcome whatever the username it is. Got it? For that, I do not want to fetch the user details again and again and again and again. I already got the user details after they provide that, and this value I will pass between the screens to get or to present that user details on top of the screen. Got it? That's the primary objective of that local variable. Or if you do not want to just push this like this, what we will do, we will just create that as a global variable. Gvar will create that. We'll create that as a global variable, and then we'll start leveraging that global variable wherever we want. But the validation still same. This gvar will validate with. Whether you want to pass the value as a parameter while you are navigating, or you create a global variable, both are good practices. There is nothing wrong. Got it? One more important property. When we come here, I'll say user ID as KVANDA. But when I say password, see, I can see the password clearly. I have to encrypt, or like I need to hide the password. So in order to do that, text has a property called format. Come to the text property format, just look at this dot format, number and text. There is one thing called password also. Is it like new? One second. Sorry, under properties, there is a property called mode. Under the mode, if you see here, single line of text, multi lines of text, and the password. Now if you see, the time I say change that to password, it automatically started showing me as the dots. So that way you can give a protection to the user information by just stating the type as password. Got it? So that is how you can hide your user password. Now when you see, the question is, how do I make the password visible to the user? This is end of the day, what is this? This is a property. I can switch the property the way I want it, right? Now I'll just say view. There is an icon for that. Now just place that icon. Now on click of this icon, we can update the context variable. I'll say lvar show pwd, and we'll say we are just going to tilt this variable, local variable, and coming to this and use that mode property. Under the mode property, we'll say if this is true, then if this is false, which means by default any local variable is false. If it is false, then it is password. If not, what we will say is text mode dot single line. Now come here. Got it? And that one we will say just find appropriate icons with which comes with eye icon and a what you call cross line on top of eye icon. You can find it over Google. Just get that icon. When this is true, this icon. If it is not true, you can show that icon. How do I change that icon? Now come to here icon. Okay, icon here. Now if this is true, then I want to show icon cancel, else icon view. Now come here. So rather than showing as a cancel, we will just show the eye icon with the with that what you call the cross mark on top of it. Okay, like that you can just always show that. Clear? Does that answer your question? So when you come to Power Apps Maker Portal and when you click on create and click on a blank app, under the blank app there are three type of options we have. One is a Canvas app and the second one is model driven app which purely runs on Dataverse, and the third one is Power Pages website. So as it clearly says blank app based on Dataverse means that model driven app only runs on top of Dataverse. If your data source is anything other than Dataverse, unfortunately you cannot create a model driven app. However, if you want to create a model driven app which you have a SQL database or Oracle database as an underlayer, you can create a API and create a custom connector and use model driven app with custom pages. Now when you click on create for the second option, it immediately asks you what is the name of the model driven app before we create a model driven app. So the basic approach or the basically why we use model driven app is people who are not very fond of UI and but they are only more interested in functionality, business process orientation. That is when we will create model driven app. What are the advantages when you use model driven app? The performance is eye blinking and all the functionalities and filters, galleries, views, everything is out of the box. You do not have to create anything. And also the customization is nothing more dependent on the developer. Any citizen developer or anyone who know only plain English can implement this. However, if the user want to do any additional customization out of the box, you can always implement with the help of JavaScript. Yes, there is a catch. When you have to implement with the JavaScript, you might need to have a basic knowledge on JavaScript implementation. However, it is not that tech dependent. Now I'm going to create an app as coffee machines. As part of our curriculum, we are using coffee machines database which is provided by Microsoft as part of app in a day. So we are using same data source and we have already learned how to create a app with the help of that database, a Canvas app. Now we are leveraging the same tables, which is mission types as one table and the other one is coffee missions as the other table. Those two tables we have already created as part of Dataverse, and now we are going to leverage those two tables and we are going to create a model driven app, and followed by that give some description. This is a model driven app to perform all admin operations. Advanced, under advanced, use components from custom solution. No, we are not going to use any custom solutions at this minute, so I'll say create. So what it will do is it will create a basic model driven app framework as a skeleton. After that we can add all the tables which we want to associate as part of this model driven app. And the beauty is when you are creating model driven app, the time to create model driven app is very minimal. All you need to do is you need to have all the prerequisites ready, which is all your custom tables, permission model, which is security roles, all those things have to be ready. Now if you see here, it created my model driven app, and also the default icon provided for this model driven app is default icon or if you want to browse for any other, you can always browse a web browse icon by clicking on the select icon, and these are all various out of the box icons Microsoft is providing. For now, for as a demonstration, I'm just using default icon, and this is the default icon we get for model driven app. Now what I wanted to do, I want to create a custom page, or I want to associate my model driven app with a custom table. That you can decide by clicking on new. When you click on new, it will ask you, hey, what you wanted to do. You want to associate a Dataverse table or a dashboard, which is a Power BI dashboard, and a URL which you wanted to associate as part of your app. You can provide that as a navigation, as part of a navigation it will come. And also web resources, could be a JavaScript, could be a image, could be any other which are not part of your application, or which not part of your tenant as of that minute, or environment as of that minute. And last but not least, custom page. What is a custom page? Let's understand custom page in a minute. A custom page is a cloned baby of Canvas app. What is a clone baby? When you see the custom page, it gives you a rich UI, but it runs on top of model driven app. I repeat, a custom page is a cloned baby of Canvas app in my vocabulary. The Microsoft says like it is as similar as Canvas app. So since it is as similar as Canvas app, I'm using a word called clone baby of Canvas app, and it gives you a very rich UI to perform all your CRUD operations. CRUD, create, read, update, and delete. That's the major objective of creating the custom pages in model driven apps. Again, it looks like as a Canvas app, and you can add many screens, and you can convert your entire model driven app into a Canvas app with the help of custom page. But is it recommended? Definitely not recommended. So when you are creating custom page on top of model driven app, try to confine your custom pages, try to confine your custom pages only for your data operations, but never ever implement galleries inside this custom pages, because out of the box galleries or the list views of model driven app are high performant when you compare with galleries inside a Canvas app. Now let's go back and add the Dataverse tables as part of your as part of your model driven app. When you say that, it will show you all the tables which you have access under that environment. Now I'm going to say coffee. So these are all the two tables I want to associate. The beauty is I can associate more than one table, or for that matter, if the table is not there, you can also create a new Dataverse table then and there, and you can associate that. And this show in navigation means if you want to show these two tables as part of your navigation or not, I will say add, because I want to show those two as part of the left navigation, which is nothing but this. This is the way we will associate the tables to the model driven app. Beauty is the app is ready. You are done creating model driven app. Now what is the very important aspect we have to remember in case of implementing model driven apps is each and every change you will have to publish. Similarly, the way how you need to take care when you are working with the Dataverse tables, views, and all the lookup columns, when you are creating, updating, you need to publish the solution. Same way, you need to ensure that you are publishing. Once you publish, your app is ready. So let's let it go, and once it get published, your app is ready. And once the app is ready, you will see the app as like this. So now that we complete finishing publishing, now come back to make.powerapps.com, and under apps you will see one model driven app under your name. Come back to apps. This is the model driven app. How do I differentiate this app is a model driven app or a custom a Canvas app at a glance? Is the icon. If the icon is coming with a spare icon, that is a modal driven app. If the icon is with the brush icon or a pencil icon, that is Canvas app. So select that, play here. So now we have created a fresh modal driven app using these two tables. Looks like it is proposing me Copilot. I don't need Copilot. There you go. See this. This app is ready. And once the app is ready, what are the other operations we could do is we can perform all the data operations out of the box. When you click on new, it will let you add a new machine. There you go. In order to do this, first step, what you need to do is you need to update your new form as part of that table. Then only you can see all these fields, which we will see in a minute. And once you enter all the details, it will add a new machine. Now come back here. I'm going to say like machine added using modal driven app, and cups per week is 10. This one is 15, and color as say like black, and the description is can sample machine added using modal driven app, and feature is something sample. I'll say mission ID as 135, and photo is some URL, any URL for the photo of the mission you can provide. So when you notice here, I have provided one web URL here because I wanted to show one particular image for my coffee mission type, and the price is $1,500, and the mission type as this, and mission type ID is 1. Now when I click on save, it only saves. When I click on save and close, it will save and close this new form also. That's it. Now out of the box, we are able to add the details within no time. Now when you come here, edit the columns, and if I do not want to show the columns which are out of the box, you can always just remove the columns within no time without any additional efforts. So this is how user can manipulate their view like the way they want then and there. And also if they want to interchange these columns very easily, they can click on edit columns and they can just drag and drop like the way they want it. Now come here, mission ID, mission type, and mission name, followed by mission name and the description. And now I want to add one more column, which is created date. Created date, created on. So now cancel that record. I wanted to see as a first record because I wanted to filter on top of it, or I want to sort the data on top of it. New to older. Looks like this is not carrying any value. Do we have that created on already here? Yes, created is already here. Just move that to top and come here, new to older. And now when it comes here, we can see mission added using modal driven app. This is the one we have added, right? And how we get, if I want to edit that, just double click on that, it automatically takes the record in the edit mode. Now if I want to update that, now I want to correct my spelling, mission, and I'll say hyphen update. Now I'll say again, save and close. It will automatically update the user details, record details, and also it retain my filter. Okay, and when I go back, I can see my updated details on top of that record. And also there is something called deactivate and delete. What is the difference between these two? In data hours, there is one property called status flag for each and every record. If the status is active, means the value is active, and if it is deactive, means the value will go to false. true and false. Now when I just deactivate it, and it will give you a confirmation, I'll say deactivate. By default, model driven app will give you two views for each and every table. One is active records and the other one is inactive records. And look at here, once the record is inactive, everything become the read only and nothing we did. Because it is inactive record, you cannot perform any operations. If you want to perform any operations on this record, first you need to activate that record. Okay, I want to go back and look at here, this is what we call it as a view. Now the reason why we see a star here is because we added some columns and moved the and position the columns like the way we wanted. It is not out of the box. We and me as a user, I have changed the way how I want to see the columns as part of my view. Now come here, see this inactive coffee missions. When I go to that view, I can see the record which is inactivated. And see here, I don't see the columns by default here because we have not customized that view. This is what exactly I was telling us, I was referring just before. Now go back to your model driven app in the edit mode and come here. And when you look at here, what it shows is it shows the default view of these tables, right? So now what I wanted to do, I want to change the view of the coffee machines. But what view I wanted to change? I want to change inactive records view. In order to do that, what you need to do is you need to go back to your solution level. So where is my solution? Go back to solutions. So to create model driven app, best practices, you should create a solution, which we have already done, which is SVKP 2024 batch. After that, under this we have coffee mission. Go to that coffee mission. Under when we go here, there is something called views here. Go to views and it default shows inactive coffee mission as a public view, active coffee mission as a public view. These two are the public views. So what we see those views as part of the drop down over here. Now what I wanted to do, I want to customize my inactive view. Select that, edit in new tab. And when you go there, it will show you the default view of that, the default view of that view. Now I see only these two columns. I don't want this, so I can select that and remove it. And I can just, all what we need to do is we need to just drag and drop the columns. Mission ID followed by mission name followed by mission description, so on and so forth. You can add any number of columns as you want. Once you are done, there is one as save as. You can create a view with this template. In order to do that, we will make use of save as. Or if you want to finalize your changes and make this as a view to all the users who are using the model driven app, save and publish. What it will do is it will publish this app to the rest of the world. Now it got published. Now come back here. It will take probably 10 to 20 seconds just to refresh with that updated view. At times it will come immediately also. So let's give 1 or 2 refreshes. There it is. Now if you see the inactive view, earlier it did not show mission ID, mission name, description on all those columns. Because we added as part of this view, it started showing over here. That is how you can customize the view. But what if I want to change my form? How could I do that? Because when you see here, when I come onto new, I see do not modify, do not modify, do not modify columns also there as part of my form. And also owner is coming on top of the form. I do not want that. Owner should come at the end. How could I do that? So in order to do that, again, go back to your solution. Under the solution, to that particular table, go to the forms. The main form is what is that form. Select that ellipsis, go edit in new tab. Under the new tab, once you see here, once you get into this view, you will see all the columns, whatever you see while you are entering the new or updating the record. So you can select one by one, or you can always select by just holding the shift. So select that field and just say delete. It will just go out of that form. Delete and delete. And this one I do not want as the first field, rather I want as the last field. So you can always just drag and drop wherever you want that field to be appear. That's how we can drag and drop that field. But if you notice here, this looks to be a very big form. How could I make it more user friendly or more interactive? So you can always change the column orientation to one column or a two column orientation. Now I'll say two column orientation. It automatically gives you a provision for you to just add one more field right next to it. There you go. You can always just say like this. Now what happened? The entire form became like a 2 by 2 matrix. Just before it was like one column. Now it became like two fields in one row. Now the size of the form became very small and it is very user friendly to the user while they are providing the details. Now we'll say save and publish. Once it get published, come back here and give just 2-3 refreshes. It automatically picks up the updated form view. There it is. It took around 10 seconds to pick up the new view, and now look at it, look at the way how the orientation of the fields here. Now it became like a 2 by 2. So that is how we can quickly customize and add the forms as part of the model driven app. And here also, if you do not want to see permanently, you can always go to the same view of the particular table and change the view and remove the columns, whatever the columns you do not want as part of that. You can also implement filters on top of the same view while you are creating the view itself. Okay, probably we will cover all those in the next sessions.